Welcome, everyone. This is the Design for Additive Manufacturing Redistributed Healthcare event, jointly sponsored by the Design for Additive Manufacturing Network and the Redistributed Manufacturing and Healthcare Network, which are both sponsored by the UPSRC. I'm in different ways involved in both of those networks, so I'm very happy to welcome you all on behalf of both of them. I'm Kenny Delgado. I'm going to sort of chair today and tomorrow. I'm Professor of Manufacturing Engineering at Newcastle University, and together with Richard Bibb, I've kind of mostly put this event together to some degree, although with a lot of help from Alan Rennie and Patrick Pradell and Nancy Honor from the Design for Additive Manufacturing Network, because we've adopted their kind of way of doing these meetings. And then a lot of the content of the meeting comes from studies that have been studied by the Redistributed Manufacturing and Healthcare Network, and so there's a lot of crossover through the meetings that'll be good to see. What are we're here for? We see a lot of potential for additive manufacturing and redistributed healthcare, taking manufacturing closer to the patient, enabling personalization and enhanced point of care processes, but delivering real patient benefit is very, very difficult. And how you go about designing that process is a big part of how that can be achieved. And so what we want to do over the next couple of days is gather, if you like, expert opinion from all of you on what's currently going on in the field and how we think it might develop in the future. And through the event, we'll develop a state-of-the-art report to try and stimulate new research agendas and new research proposals. So 4 sessions, one related to requirements and regulation, to medical devices, to pharma and regenerative medicine, and to design processes. In each of those, we'll have some initial presentations to stimulate ideas, and then a kind of breakout session to capture them. And we'll take you through how we're going to do that later on. But before we get into that first session, we're going to have the leads of both of the networks, the Design for AM network and the Redistributed Healthcare network, to talk to you, just to welcome you from their perspective as well. And actually, the person who's going to kick that off for us is Wendy Phillips. Wendy, do you want to?
Thank you very much, Kenny. I'm just going to share my slides. I realise I don't have much time, so I'll try to keep it brief. Thank you very much. As you're aware, I'm lead of the RDM in Healthcare Network, RiHN. So thank you for involving us today, and it's excited to see there's a lot of representation from the research that we've been supporting over the past 2 years. So a brief overview of what we are and what we're about. So we've been going for several years now with a focus on redistributed manufacturing, and currently we're seeking to identify, fund and advance high value applications of redistributed manufacturing research that will transform future deployed medical care capability, as we identified as this being one of the high value areas for developing technologies and innovation in this space. So we've been provided nearly £2 million worth of research funding from the EPSRC to run this Network Plus programme. And we're here to link up key academics, practitioners, military and emergency medicine engineers to try and advance the developments in RDM. So we funded 13 feasibility studies across 4 key themes. So the one that will be focused on over the next 2 days will be the additive layer manufacturing, also cell and tissue manufacturing, clinical fluids and pharma. And these were identified in a workshop and other interactions with those experts in deployed medical care as the key priority areas. We've also got 2 cross-cutting themes that my colleagues, Dr. Helen Sanderson and Dr. Christopher Howell, who will be helping facilitate the sessions, are running, which is looking at what the actual operational requirements are and trying to undertake innovation assessments and adoption. So you may have been approached by them recently because they're gathering expert opinion in these areas. So I'm probably preaching to the converted or those that understand all this, but RDM offers a game-changing approach to manufacturing. So we're cutting out several of the stages that we see that often associate with large global value chains. And the pandemic and many other instances have highlighted the lack of resilience in these large-scale supply chains across many nations and offer opportunities for there to be major disruptions. So RDM offers an opportunity for scale out rather than scale up, so offering localized production close to the point of need or care, and potentially through customization and personalization we'll be able to move towards the ideal situation of right first time treatments as opposed to repeat visits. And because of the localization of RDM and the ability to suddenly scale out, we can ensure more rapid responses and potentially deal with the fluctuations in demand that, again, I hate to mention the pandemic, but identified how the weaknesses in large global value chains can't address these major changes in demand. And we're hoping could support a more resilient supply chain. So we undertook a great deal of research and we've worked with many experts and produced a white paper, which Ian Rees from MHRA, who's presenting later, has discussed at many workshops for the MHRA, looking at point of care manufacturing. And one area we're looking at is mobile or flexible locations where there is acute and urgent demand. So the focus over the past few years and currently, and we're supporting research in this area, is deployed medical care. So I'm aware that there's experts following me, such as Paul Hunt and Andrew Lamb, who will be discussing this in potentially more depth. But the challenges that we're hoping to address through the research into RDM is how can we deploy and deploy medical care using RDM. So there are key challenges. So the uncertainty, what diseases, where they're going to outbreak, major humanitarian crises, as we've seen recently around the world, and extreme weather events that even we in the UK are subject to. I'm currently in a red zone with the weather, so can anticipate that we may have an impact here. So clearly there is a need to develop more resilient supply chains. Currently, one of the issues in deployed medical care is lengthy supply chains over many nations and jurisdictions, which exposes them to disruption, and any delays can result in a loss of capabilities. So there's a need to develop particularly critical products far forward, close to the point of need. And this is very much the case within clinical fluids, particularly blood products, where there's a real emphasis on reducing that logistics tail. So it's evident that our major advances in deployed military care, but it's about how can we translate and move these across to other areas where it may be beneficial, such as humanitarian and emergency services. And how can we ensure resilience in these new technologies? Because often in a remote, austere environments where resources are limited, there's difficulty in accessing major utilities such as water, electricals, and so forth. And in many instances, they need to be simple to use by either military personnel or by humanitarian agencies or the locals that will be using them as well. So if they be to mobile and be rapidly deployed, then they need to be flexible and think about miniaturization. And in the case of humanitarian situations and humanitarian agencies, Andrew might touch on this, but they need to be robust and use local materials that can be readily accessed. So building the case for frugal innovation, using cheap alternatives, or maybe not perfect, but do the job sufficiently. So just to summarise, because I realise I had 5 minutes, I've probably done more, RDM has the potential to meet the operational requirements in deployed medical operations, not only in military areas, but humanitarian and emergency services, particularly where there's acute and urgent demand. So RDM may address the need to supply some of those critical products, particularly much further forward in the supply chain, close to the point of need. And by removing the logistical burden, develop more resilient supply chains. It's clear, and Paul may touch on this, the first hours are critical in terms of healthcare and delivering the optimal outcome. So through RDM, we hopefully could support more rapid diagnosis, production and testing in remote and austere conditions. Okay, I'm going to finish there. I may have run over 5 minutes, but thank you very much. If you have any further queries, our website's there, or please follow us on Twitter at EPSRC RiHN. Thank you very much.
Patrick, I guess you're now ready
Okay.
to talk about the Design for Additive Manufacturing Network.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for giving me the floor. It's been a pleasure to listen to the presentations from Wendy and Ian. So I will give you a very quick overview of the Design for Additive Manufacturing Network. I hope this will not take too much time. I hope you can see the presentation.
We can.
Fantastic. So I'm going on very quickly. So the aim of the Design for Additive Manufacturing Network is really to bring together the Design for IM community within the United Kingdom and potentially reach out to our international audience and our international peers, as well as the companies and other stakeholders that are involved and they can benefit from D4IM research. And specifically today, so we have at the moment 395 subscribers, over 600 LinkedIn followers. We have 66 directory followers, and we have over 50 academic institutions within the UK that are affiliated within the network, plus some international universities, companies, research organizations, and professional bodies. And we try to organize events to bring together and explore what are the main topics within the D4IM research and what are the future directions that we should explore and we should tackle in our future research projects. So we have a UK D4IM directory that we launched a few months ago that you are always invited. They are all invited to join, where we can share the profile of our members and have a single point of contact to collect the experts in D4IM research. Then we have recently launched a poster competition, which is led by Pia Pat and Lewis from Imperial College and the University of Leeds, and that's to really support young and emerging academics in design for IM research, giving them a space to organize and get experience in organized poster competition, but also to give them the opportunity to share the fantastic work that they are doing in this field and to see really this emerging talent within the field. So it's a poster competition aimed to promote students and early career academics. We are inviting specifically for this 2022 session works in D4IM utilizing computational tools. And there will be a live Q&A session on February 23rd at 4 p.m. that you are all invited to join, and you will find more information on our website. And that the deadline for the competition is the 15th of May. So there is still quite a lot of time. If you are thinking or interested in this competition, please let us know. Or if you have any students or connections that they might be interested, please spread the voice, please share this information. We are really welcoming entries for the competition. And then the winners will be announced at a future D4IM event in 2022. So you can apply here using this QR code or using the link in the PPTs. Then I will just talk you very briefly about our next event. So today we are presenting this event in collaboration with the RiHN network that Kenny and Richard are kindly organized to join our communities together and to see which synergies there are. But we're already thinking forward, and we will kind of announce and present our future event, which will happen in May and which will be led by Jonathan Rowley, Mark Beecroft and Richard Cooper, and will be focused on the design of 3D printing textile. And tomorrow, for who is going to attend this session, the event tomorrow, Jonathan will give a brief introduction to the future event of the network. And then finally, this is a very short presentation just to really raise the flag about the D4IM network. If you want to join us, if you want to get a bit of what we are doing and what our activities are, please join us on LinkedIn, follow us on LinkedIn and join our directory or our list of subscribers, and we will keep you updated about future events. We are always welcome if you have any suggestion of any topic in D4IM research that we should explore. Okay, that's bring me to the end of my presentation. It was very brief. Thank you, and I leave the floor to the other speakers of today's event.